Nova Scotia has introduced a law to ensure couples aren't separated when put into long-term care homes. The Life Partners in Long-Term Care Act, which takes effect today, allows these couples to stay together even if their needs are different.
I love you.
Love you too.
The law applies to spouses as well as common law and domestic partners. It applies to all 133 long-term care home licensed and funded by the province. There are about 1,500 people on the wait list for long-term care. Placements will be made based on priority level, bed availability, and demand at various facilities. That means couples might not be placed in a particular long-term care home at the same time, but authorities will make every effort to ensure they end up at the same facility as soon as possible. And for more now, I'm joined by Dr. Melissa Andrews. She's a geriatrician at Nova Scotia Health, an associate professor at Dalhousie Division of Geriatric Medicine, and she is in Halifax tonight. Thanks so much for being with us, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
So for you, is this welcome news?
For sure. It's really been very sad over the years to see people have to be separated. And even before that process happens, to have people fear being separated and have that delay care that they really need. So it's a great move.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about how you've seen that separation and isolation really impact seniors, not just their mental, but their physical well-being. And I expect that it's even more, has an impact now during COVID-19 when people can't come visit.
Yeah, for sure. So we know that loneliness, isolation, and just missing people that you love has really important health impacts, both for mental health, of course, but also for physical health. For example, people will have worsening cardiovascular health and also worsening cognition and memory. So it's really, it's more than simply a mental health issue, even though mental health, of course, is critical. It's also physical health, too.
And what do you hear from families as well? If they have parents in different care homes, does this also help ease the burden a little bit if they're in one place?
For sure. So it's about the couple themselves and also for their family who are trying to support them. And as you mentioned, seeing this roll out during COVID is particularly satisfying. Even though it was a bill, an initiative that was designed pre-COVID, we're really seeing the importance now even more because it's so much more difficult to get into facilities to visit.
Can you talk to me a little bit about before this, how common or how difficult was it to prioritize that request without having regulation in place?
For sure. So before this, of course, there was always the best intentions of families, couples themselves, and healthcare providers and caseworkers to try to keep people together as much as possible. But we would often find that the policies would be working against us. So, for example, if two people were at different places on the wait list or had different levels of care needs, they simply wouldn't be accommodated in the same facility. And it was just heart-wrenching to see that happen. And now we'll have the policy working for us. So when these best intentions are put in place and aligns with good policy, hopefully we'll see people having much better outcomes.
But to that point, there is a logistical kind of thing that has to happen here. Is there a concern about, maybe single seniors getting bumped? We talked about that long wait list if couples are prioritized. How does this actually come into practice now?
That's a great question. So there is a lengthy wait list. However, to get on the list in Nova Scotia in the first place, you have to meet certain criteria. So it isn't about people just waiting on the list just in case they may need a future spot. So that change happened a couple years ago, and that certainly helped with the length of the list. Just the way that the list works here, people are allowed to choose or invited to choose multiple facilities of their preference. And so, of course, the more facilities that they choose, the faster their wait time or shorter their wait time will be. So hopefully it won't have too much impact on single people. However, it is something that really will need to be monitored and evaluated quite carefully.
Yeah, and how do you also ensure that care needs are met? Because sometimes a couple may have different needs, and that may have been the reason that they were looking at different places in the first place. How do you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, for sure. So my understanding is that the accommodation would most likely be at the highest level facility, so the facility that provides the highest level care, so that the person with the most complex health would certainly get the care they need. The other person would likely have less or different care needs, as you say, but hopefully at a level that could also be accommodated within the home. One thing that's really important to remember too is that our senior older couples have strengths as well, right? So they can often be involved in caring for their own partner, and that can be a win-win situation. So it's better for them, it's better for their mental health and well-being, better for the family, and also potentially better for the facility if a couple can look after some of their own needs.
This
especially
is
important.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, it's especially important if one of them has dementia, for example, and might be distressed, and the other person can be quite calming, and that's something that can be very difficult for a care worker who doesn't know the person to do.
This is the first legislation of its kind in Canada. Do you want to see this rolled out across other provinces?
I think it's a great initiative. One thing that will be important is to do a proper evaluation, looking at people's satisfaction, the experiences as it is being rolled out, and in that way we can properly inform policy in other jurisdictions.
All right, Dr. Melissa Andrew in Nova Scotia. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.